Hola, my lovelies. It's me, author Alexandria Infante, and I'm back doing a little, just like an reintroduction to my books and what I write. So, remember, I am a cross-genre author, so I write in several genres, and this is contemporary romance. So now I like to write quirky, like clumsy type, whatever, contemporary romance. I do get a little intense, but for the most part, I don't. If you're looking for a light romance that's funny, that's quirky, girl meets guy in a bar, and basically he says, "Hey, can you marry me?" And she's like, "What the hell?" You know, that type of romance. So I don't write anything very angsty or like deep. The deepest that I have written is this book here. And this is my contemporary romance called, excuse me, My Best Wife's Friend. A lot of people, when they see this, they think that this is a cheating book, but it's not. um, basically, um, Elijah and Holby are best friends. They go through um, military academy together. They go through being Navy cadets together, and then they go through Navy SEALs together, and they both become Navy SEALs. Unfortunately, on one of their missions, Holby is unalived, and during that time period, they're in a part of the world that they're not supposed to be in because they're Navy SEALs. So they can't tell anyone. The commanders won't get there in time. The evac won't get there in time. So unfortunately, Hobie passes away. But during that time period, Hobie makes his best friend, Elijah, makes him basically swear to something. And so Elijah does, and happens to do with his wife, Jimena. And so he makes him give him this pretty much deathbed promise. And so Elijah gets back to the States, but he's not allowed to go to the funeral because he has to be sent off continent once again. And so he doesn't get to pay his respects. He doesn't get to do any of that stuff. But he like reverences and remembers the promise that he made to his best friend, and he wants to make good on it. So 2 years after all of those events happen, Elijah finally returns stateside. And when he does, the first thing he does is to go and make good on this promise that he made his best friend. And therein begins the story. So, this one is called My Best Friend's Wife. And it's not cheating. This one is an older women, younger men series. I read a few of these. And Corin is a professor, and she wants to lose like that last 15 pounds of stubborn weight that she can't get off. So her best friend Zena, who is a professor as well, she's like, "Yeah, I'm taking this Zumba class, so you should come and join me." And Corin's like, "Yeah, no, I'm not doing Zumba." And so Zena, behind her back, goes and signs them up for a hip hop class, and it's like a hip hop contemporary dance class, and she pretty much forces her to go. And Zena's just like, and Corin's just like, "Oh my God." So she goes. And just so happens the hot young instructor, they have like this instant connection, but she's like, "No, because he's younger and I'm not trying to be, be in that realm." But anyway, he sees her. He's like, "Yeah, it's out." So basically, she takes the dance class. They grow closer and closer together. But there is a girl in this dance class that has wants him, and only took the class because of him. And so she decides to make Corin's life, a living hell. Because she wants him, but he doesn't want her. He wants Corin. So that's Into the Group. This is a suspense contemporary romance. It technically belongs over with the Great Reviews and the Concealing Crime Syndicate, but I totally forgot when I was doing that video. But this one isn't a dark romance, so that's kind of probably why my brain didn't put it over there. But it's a series as well. It's basically called the Spicy Chef series. And these two people have met before. They went to culinary school together. So Colin has been in love with Sari since culinary school. But it never worked out that way because Sari started dating one of his friends. And his friend did it on purpose so he could block him. And so she was in love with him just as much as he was in love with her. But it never went anywhere because she started dating his friend. The friend was a douchebag. All this other stuff happened. He went to study in France because he was like, I'm done with it. She was still in love with him, had been in love with him all that time. And then she gets catered. She takes a teaching position, teaching culinary. School goes bust on this one program, and so now she's back in the field. And it just so happens she gets contracted to cater his event because now he owns his own catering company, and she's one of the chefs that he hired, and he hired her purposely because he saw her name on the roster. And so now this is a 10-year-old romance that's being rekindled, but there's some issues because the douchebag boyfriend from before is like, no, she belongs to me, has always belonged to me, even though she don't want me. And so therein lies all the drama. So it is a spicy series. There's 2 books in this series so far. And then this is also an older woman, younger man. In this series, Celestia is an older woman who basically she goes out on a ladies' night with her friends, and she's coming home and she gets mugged. Thank God none of the other stuff happened, but she gets mugged, and so now she's paranoid every time she turns around. So she decides to the guy that she's dating at that time, they've been together for 6 years, the relationship goes sour, and he's like, you need help, you need to go and see a counselor because obviously you can't function in the world. And so her counselor tells her that in order to make herself feel better, why doesn't she take a self-defense class? Because getting an IFNA or something like that, unless you can use it, it's not going to help you. So she decides to take a boxing class. And Maxwell McKenna is the boxing instructor. He is a Navy SEAL as well. And so he happens to be younger than her. And when he starts to train her, he's really seriously attracted to her. But she's like, no, once again, younger man, I'm not trying to hear this. And so basically what she doesn't know is not only is he a Navy SEAL, but his family basically invented the first stove in the 1950s. So he's got buku bugs, but he doesn't tell her that. She just thinks that he's a Navy SEAL or former Navy SEAL. And then what happens is he realizes that he's her brother's commander because her brother's in the Navy as well. And her brother's pissed off because he's like, you're an older woman, you need to not be trying to go after my friends because Maxwell is younger than her. He's 34. And Celestia is 45, turning 46. And so the brother's pissed off, and this causes a whole bunch of drama between all of them. And there's that story. So that's just a few of the contemporary romances that I write. So check them out. See if you might like them. They're all at Barnes & Noble and Amazon.com.